is going on, everyone? I'm here with Juan Romero, Attention to Detail Painting, Tampa Bay, fellow DripJobs user. First things first, do you like DripJobs?
Yes, I'm liking it very much.
You're the man. All right. Well, thanks for your support there. So let's talk a little bit about your business. I know you and I went back and forth a little bit about where you were to where you are now. It is now Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and you are not on a job site. So I assume that you have some teammates out helping you out. So tell me a little bit about your business. Give me the good, and then give me an area that you wish to improve.
Okay. Well, been in business since 2012. Mostly been a one-man show and a helper for most of that. And ever since we had our daughter, she's 3 years old now, I've realized how much time I have to, it takes me away from being with her in the evenings.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to make a change. Really wanted to do that in around 2020. The world happened. And I had no idea how to scale it up by myself. And then I found you and your podcast, and also Nick Slavik's podcast, and it helped me make a plan to scale up and finally, get out of the job site. I'm not fully out of the job site yet. I'm still there. I want to say 75% of the time. So the good news is I have a good crew now. I have 3 full-time guys. I have a 4th one, but he's leaving for a job that he's been looking at for the longest time. So I have a good, reliable crew. All 4 of them are on the job site right now. I actually have 2 job sites going right now, a big one and a small one. So that's going good. You said you wanted the good. What else? The bad?
Tell me what's an area in your business now, after telling me all the good stuff, that you're wanting to improve. Sales, marketing, hiring. What's an area?
Sales, I want to improve that. I think I have the marketing, if not down, I have a good, good progression plan for it. But I need to tighten up my on the appointment sales.
Sure. So
Yeah.
walk me through, first, you say you do a majority of residential work, right?
Yes, 100%.
So tell me how your process works, right? From the initial phone call. So if I called your company, who answers the phone? What do they say? And let's start there.
It's changed now ever since I started using DripJobs and Angie. So the process as it stands right now is, let's say I get an Angie lead. They get the DripJobs message right away, which is amazing. Especially if I'm on a ladder, or if it's like, a Sunday evening and I'm with my family, and they just get the message and they can do their appointment request. Even if they don't do the appointment request, they get a first contact. So that's great. I try to call them right away. When I call them right away, I let them know, hey, this is Juan with Attention to Detail. I got your info from blah, blah, blah. I'd like to see if I could set up an appointment with you and give you a free estimate and see how we can help you.
Sure. Love it.
From there,
I'm sure that's favorable. So once that happens, you show up to the house. Let's say it's an interior paint job. Now what?
Well, you're going to like this. What's the story?
There you go. Isn't that a good opener?
Yeah. I actually, it's actually the same opener I've always used. Maybe not the same words. So like, hey, so what's the story? All right, tell me the story. Tell me what. You let the customer talk about themselves and talk about the job. And
Sure.
just listen. Try to get all the info. The first thing I gotta try to identify is what's the reason why they're painting, which is something that you drill us into for the longest time. But having been in business this long, I've learned to, okay, these are the reasons
You've been
why
doing
I try to
it.
paint
I just put it into a package and make it a little bit easier to replicate,
Dude, it's like the things that I've been doing, or the things that I've been wanting to do, and like you've turned them from abstract thoughts into like well-detailed thoughts. Like it's amazing.
Thank you.
So walk around the job site, hear their story. My initial walk around, I just let them talk as much as possible. Once I have all the info, then I try to customize my pitch depending upon what their needs are.
So let me give you an example. My story is I haven't painted in 20 years, and I'm ready to paint the walls in the house. My husband finally gave me the green light, and I'm ready to go.
Okay.
What's next?
I assume that by this I've asked if they're staying in the house or if they're planning to sell. And so if they've told me they needed to stay, it's like, oh well, we have a good process. I usually run them down our preparation process and our work process. Look, we take care of every little imperfection, every nick and ding. We fill all the nail holes, fill all the cracks. We want to make sure that when we're done here, you don't have to call me again for 20 years.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like as much as I like visiting my customers, I don't want to hear from them for 5 or 6 years after I'm
Same
done,
here.
because that means that my job was well done.
Right.
I tell them about the products that we use. I told them about our crew dynamics.
Yeah.
I try to drill into the fact that I have look, I have good clean cut people. I'm gonna have good professional, well trained people here.
Right.
Most of my guys I've trained myself from the ground up, so they know how to do it my way. They know my
Building
process.
building the story. I love it.
Yeah. And I just try not to stretch that out for too long, because I feel like the more I stretch it out, it just
Right.
drones on, and just you
Yep.
can
So you
see
got to
them
have
moving.
that temperature gauge to identify when to stop talking about
Yeah.
yourself and to transition and realign the focus
Mm-hmm.
of what your goal is
Mm-hmm.
on that estimate. So let's continue. I told you I want my walls painted. What's next?
Okay. Have you looked at? Are you interested in doing your ceilings, your trim, your doors? I can see it's a little yellowing around in that ceiling. Maybe you had a leak a while back. Oh yeah, I had a leak in the roof. We never got that fixed. It's like, oh, we can take care of that. We have the right kind of primer that's gonna cover that stain. It's not gonna bleed through. You're gonna have your nice bright ceilings, and like at least let me quote you for that. I can maybe, if you want me to, I can put it as a separate thing, and then you can tell me if you want it or not. Because once you see your walls painted, you're gonna look at the ceiling and be like, I really should have done that.
Perfect.
From there, I basically replicate that into every other area of the house that they were originally trying to dock. The ceilings, I find that's an easier sale than the doors and the baseboards, mainly because they cost a little
You
less.
price the doors and the trim separately.
As of now, I've been itemizing everything. Again, I'm working on trying to work on the sale on the spot instead of taking it home.
Right. Well, I
So I
want to
have
talk about that. Well, you missed a crucial question. I don't know if you just were moving too fast, but how do you approach colors?
well, I just asked them, have you guys looked into colors?
And if I told you no, what happens?
Okay. Up until now, I've been doing my own color consultations, but I'm talking to two different interior designers to see if I
Okay.
can hire
So
if I
you'll
can
do a
hire them by
good,
the yeah.
awesome. And then how soon do you want the job done? Is usually where I finish up on that,
Yeah.
find out when they want the job done.
Okay.
So
And I usually try to find out what their timeline is in the initial phone call, but I have noticed that can be a hindrance. So I'm gonna work into building that into the first
yeah,
appointment.
build it in because you want to know, obviously, ideally, you want them to say, oh, whenever your schedule's open, or oh, well, we have to get the roof on first. Like, so you at least have an idea of the barriers. Some people think that they need a roof on before they can paint, which I try to sway them the other way because I don't want to have to worry about overspray on a brand new roof.
Yep.
So I tell them that, say, look, we have extra caution and preparation that's going to need to be done if you have a brand new roof. That's the reality of it. So
Yeah.
I'd prefer you paint first.
I
Or
usually
hey, some people say, oh well, hey, we got to get the flooring in first, right? Don't you hear that? And then I'm like,
oh yeah.
why
I
would
have
you want to put the flooring in first? We don't
yeah.
want to have to put paper and plastic on your whole house just to paint your walls. So, you got to know that because if you can sway the the sale the other way.
I usually have an answer prepared for something like that. Anything that can be done after us, I just tell them, look, if by any chance you're trying to get your floors done, it makes more sense for me to get my painting done. I asked them if they're gonna replace the baseboards or just put shoe molding, and I told
So,
them,
I mean, if I were to grade you here, I'd say like you're at a 90%, in terms of your pre-sale, right?
yeah,
Which is pre-exchange of money.
it's closing the deal that
It's
I'm
close,
having
but I'm
issues
just
with.
saying the closing the deal is where you're missing it. And chances are it's because of the pricing,
Yeah.
because you're so used to working on your own, or that when you bring in other people, it starts to convolute the pricing, and the confidence behind the pricing is just as important as the pricing because your prices were probably pretty lower than they used to be.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see higher numbers and you're starting to second guess whether or not you're going to win the job. Is that true?
100%.
So how you combat that, first of all, is identifying first that you're providing more value in exchange for their dollar by providing more people on the job.
Yeah.
You understand? So in other words, the customer's paying your teammates. The customer's paying for the paint. You as the business are just facilitating that exchange and keeping a profit because you made it convenient for the customer to have painters and paint and a seamless process where you manage that process. When you think of it like that, it's almost like, wow, right? Other than the customer's just paying me to paint. That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
A little bit different, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So when it comes to your pricing, walk me through how you would price this job. Okay. Now hold on. I'm going to give you the scenario so you know what to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
1,500 square feet house. Okay.
Okay.
Orange peel texture. Walls throughout. And then you just told me that you wanted to price me for the ceiling, walls, and trim.
Okay.
Give me a price.
Up until now, I've been doing everything by square footage. Vertical square footage for the walls, linear square footage for baseboards, door square footage, door for the piece, walls and ceilings, their own square footage.
How long is that taking you? So let me ask you a question. When you go in there after that beautiful intro, which again, A+, really. I mean, I could tell that you know what you're doing when it comes to facilitating a community. Did you used to work in a restaurant?
No sales.
Really? No sales?
No, I did sales before.
That's why.
Before painting.
So you know.
I've been in both real estate and retail.
Do?
First, I was in real estate back in Spain before the crash, and then I ran a.
My cousin lives in Barcelona.
Oh yeah, I'm from the south. I'm from Malaga.
Okay.
But we did. I also did when I moved here. When I moved to this area, and painters were offering $8 an hour for apprentices, and I had 6 years of experience by that point.
Yeah.
I went to work retail for this place that paid commission on sales, and it was a independent Tommy Bahama retailer.
So retail is a little bit different, and so is mortgages. Mortgages is not much of a sale at all.
Yeah.
You're not convincing anyone to do anything. Usually, if you're a good realtor, you don't do any convincing.
Yeah.
That's not a good realtor's practice. And in retail, there's no closing that happens. So you have
the one there there is because it was a commission-based sales, and you were selling like $200 pairs of shoes, like $300 shirts.
A little bit different than 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 though.
Oh yeah, very different.
Right. Because usually what we're selling is the biggest purchase they're going to make this year on average.
Oh, so probably the biggest purchase in 5 years if they're not buying
sometimes
cars.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we have to understand that and have empathy toward that, and also understand that it's still valuable to provide the service, even if it's more than what they thought it would be. And it's all about confidence first. You've got to be confident behind your pricing. So after you give me this great intro, do you send me off and say, okay, I'm going to do some measurements? Is that usually how you operate?
Yep.
Okay. After this meeting here, never do that again. What are you measuring? There's nothing to measure. Really, the whole purpose of a measurement, Juan, and you and I both know this, is to identify how much paint you're going to need. Is that correct?
Yeah. My thing is, up until now, I had really well down how much linear and square footage of each the different thing I can do on my own.
But I want you to not take it so serious, because what that's doing is it's taking away from time that could be spent building a relationship with your customer. If you're running around my house for the next 30 minutes measuring things, it looks good. It's like, oh, that guy's actually measuring from the customer's perspective. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to closing, you're missing out on 30, 45 minutes worth of time.
And I'm doing this for 10 to 15 minutes. And you're just here,
your head's down, and the customer's trying to talk to you, and you're just writing down measurements, and you don't even know what and then you got to go in the car, tally it all up. You got scrap all over the place. I did this, bro. And I reckon, I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah. This doesn't make any sense. Number one, the customer could care less how many linear feet they have in a house. Yeah. They don't care. I don't care.
No, for the most part, they don't
care about one thing.
Bottom dollar.
That number at the bottom. And now, however you and I get there, Juan,
they don't care.
I'm going to get there faster. You're over there measuring. I'm over there talking about their kids, family, building a relationship. And I got that number in my back pocket ready to bring it out at the end. That's the difference. And you need to have a streamlined way to estimate that doesn't take so long.
That's what I need to work on. I
Well, I
can
know
set.
because you're doing 95% of the hard work when you build your relationship in the beginning, and then you work up price so long that you almost feel like it's time to go, and you've overstayed your welcome.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're like, Juan, you're gonna stay for dinner? I got to get started here.
No, I find that is my biggest fault. The measuring doesn't take me long these days. I mean, I can measure a 3,500 square for a house in
But it's
5 to 10 minutes.
wargaming the price.
It's this.
Yeah, it's the war game, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you something. All right. Juan, you've been doing this long enough. I want you to utilize your expertise and knowledge to your advantage.
Yeah.
1,500 square foot house. How many gallons of paint are you going to use on the walls?
Let's say 8 to 10.
8 to 10. How about the trim, baseboards, and door frames?
2 to 3, depending on how many closet doors.
2. How many on the doors?
How many in the doors? Probably
If
a
you
gallon.
spray them, maybe 2 at the most. Right?
Maybe 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Ceiling.
6 to 8.
Let's say 10, just to be frisky.
Yeah.
Okay?
I usually round up. Yes.
So 10 for the walls, 4 for the trim and doors, 10 for the ceiling. That's 24 gallons of paint. Okay. You came up with that in under 15 seconds. All right.
Yeah.
So 24 gallons of paint. On average, what are you paying per gallon?
Depending on the grade, I usually try to beforehand identify what quality paint they're looking for.
They all want good quality. So again, don't overthink this. Everyone wants good quality and they don't care. Okay. There's good quality paint. I never talk about what brand of paint I'm going to be using on an interior house. It's going to be super paint satin unless they come to me and they say, hey, I saw that there's emerald or duration. It's still great stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it's cost efficient. Either way, we're passing that cost on to them. Right. So,
one thing that's worked before we settle down on the product part. One thing that's worked really well for me in the past is giving them the choice of good grade and premium grade.
It confuses them.
Yeah,
it confuses them. For you, it wouldn't confuse you because you know the difference. That's one more thing you've got to overcome. And then when you give them that option, then you paralyze them. As long as you know you're giving a great product, then there's no reason to give variations. On the outside, fine, because it's a lot different on the outside, right? Elements, weather, things like that, fine. But we're talking about inside. Inside, not so much. Yes, on trim, we want to use acrylic, enamel, all the good stuff. But I'm just saying, on average, let's just give me an average number of how much.
I recently negotiated a deal on super paint. So I'm paying 28. Let's call it 30 a gallon after tax.
30 a gallon, but then you have your Pro Classic for the trim and stuff, right?
I use Benmore Advance for
okay, so I'm gonna say on average, let's just say on average to be safe, $40 a gallon. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
All right. So for this specific job, Juan, and I'm gonna just make it easy, we're at $1,000 of paint costs between all the gallons multiplied 24 by 40 gives us $960, and let's just add $40 for tape, sundries, and all that. We're at $1,000 for materials. Yeah, right then and there. Okay. So how many guys do you have working for you?
Right now, for about to turn into 3 because one guy's leaving. Okay,
so you have 3 guys working for you. Okay. What are they getting paid? Don't tell me their names. Just give me dollar amounts.
I pay well because Pinellas is expensive, so I'm between 20 and 25 an hour.
Very good. So
average at 22.50.
I'm gonna say average is 22.50. Okay, times 3. Okay, get my calculator. Wasn't good at arithmetic. 67.5 per hour. I don't care about you yet. You're last. Okay, unless you're putting hours in on this job working, I don't want to talk about your costs. Okay, so $67 an hour. Now, here's the kicker. Okay. First thing I want to do is price the whole house. Okay. So if you were to do this whole house, 1,500 square feet, ceiling, walls, trim, doors, the whole enchilada, everything, how many days would it take this team of 3 to do by themselves?
Right now, too long.
Give me a day.
Say a week and a half.
Week and a half. So 5, 6, 7 full days.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you were on the job.
Yeah.
If you were on the job, how long would it take?
5 days.
5 days. So you would actually shave 2 days off the job just by being there.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is interesting. I want you to see why I'm going here. All right. So if it took the guys 7 days, first thing we need to know is how much they're getting paid per day. So we take that $67 and we multiply it by 8. So they're getting paid $540 per day. Follow me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You said 7 working days, correct?
Yes.
7 working days. Let's multiply that by 7. That means that you have to pay this team $3,780 over the course of 7 days to get this job done. Okay.
Mhm.
With that being said, we have to add in our $1,000. That gives us $4,780. That doesn't include any labor costs for you, nor does it include any profit for the business, correct?
Nope.
So you're all in. You come into my house, it's 1,500 square feet. You're telling me you're going to use 25 gallons of paint almost. It's going to be $1,000 of paint cost. Your team of 3 will take 7 days on it. Okay. That means that it's going to cost you as the business owner $3,780. Your total cost all in to get this job done on behalf of the customers $4,780. Now let's talk about profit.
I need to price that job at $9,200 to make 100%.
Why do you need to
profit.
price it at $9,200? Who told you that?
To get 100% profit on my investment?
50% profit.
Sorry, 50% profit on my investment. Yeah.
Why do you need 50%? Who told you that?
Well, that's the number I want to start at. Okay. In order for me to make a profitable, make a good profit out of this job, I need to double whatever I'm spending. From there, I gauge where the customer is at and, you know, what they're willing to pay. And maybe instead of 9,200, I start at, 8,600 or something like that.
So 9,560 is where you would come in at to get started.
Yeah.
Okay. In under 4 minutes, we came up with this, with the price.
Yeah.
Just by working the numbers, projecting outcomes. Now, in some cases, will you use less paint? Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you get the job done a little bit sooner. Sure. Maybe that's a bonus for your team, or maybe you stretch it and say, guys, we got to get this done in 6 days.
Right now, my problem is things are taking longer.
I understand that. But when you're a student of the numbers and measurements are no longer a hurdle, then you can narrow down why it's taking longer, where your costs were, what they should have been, and then you can pinpoint what's going on. But right now, it doesn't seem like that's the case, or it may be it's just taking you longer to get there. And one thing you said was we're on sales right now. So I want to make sure that we get this out of the way. Based on what I just showed you, do you still feel the need to measure?
No, not at all.
Waste of time. So you're in your car doing exactly what you and I just did here. You came up with 9,560. Do you have my calculator?
Yeah, I have access to it. Yes.
Everything on that calculator is what I just did here.
Yeah.
So use that calculator. It'll save you time, right?
Sure.
So 9,560. Now, the reason I want you to see this is watch this. This is where people fail in this business. You ready? So you present 9,560 to me and I go, whoa, right? Holy cow, Juan, right? Now, here's the thing. By you emailing this quote, you're not going to see that.
I don't get a chance to answer them.
You don't get a chance to answer that.
Yeah.
So that is why in the beginning of your business, up to about $500,000 in yearly revenue, every single quote you do should be on the spot. Because if you don't, then you think that you have to get more leads in order to keep your business busy, when you're going to pick up the people that go, whoa. And you could say, wait, what's wrong? And they say, listen, Juan, I appreciate you wanting to give me a price for the ceilings, trim, and doors, but that's way too much. Let's take off the ceiling. And this is where you get a curveball thrown at you, because if you remove the ceiling from this price, how would you do that right now?
Yeah, I have to start the numbers right over.
You got to start all over again. Okay, so let's do that. I want to show you how to do that because it's important. Ready? We anticipated 10 gallons for the ceiling. So that would mean that if we were to do this job, it would only be 14 gallons. Right?
Yes.
Now, with that said, how many days would it take your team to get that done if it were only the walls, trim, and the doors? Just your team, not you.
Call it 5 days.
You would say 5 days. So that would shave 2 days off the job. So 14 gallons of paint multiplied by 40, that would be 560. Okay. And you say 5 days for your team. Your team costs you $540 a day plus 560. That's $3,260 total cost. Multiply that by 2. Now you're coming in at $6,520. Okay. Do you see what just happened there? You were charging $3,000 for the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
At all. Because what happens is because you did it that way, the customer now saved $3,000 on a ceiling of a 1,500 square foot house, which means that you were charging $2 a square foot on that ceiling, which on average it should be 75 cents to $1.25.
Yeah.
On average. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about right.
So the reason that happened is because you've got to have the awareness, the acute awareness to say, hey, this is a package price. If I start breaking this thing down, then it's not gonna be proportional, right? So you've got to have the awareness of how to reverse engineer your numbers to make it where you are still in favor. And you have to be careful with upsells, because by upselling, you might make less of a margin than you would if you just stuck with what they originally wanted. Walls in a 1,500 square foot house, 2 days, 36 to $4 grand, maybe. You're making 50% and you're happy, and you're leaving, they're happy. But because you added upsells, it confused the customer. Now they're paying way more than they thought. So you've really got to identify how to itemize these in a way that if they remove the least favorable one, which isn't necessary for the job to look good, a ceiling is not necessary.
No.
Right? If they remove the weakest link, it's like when you do exteriors. Do you do exteriors? Okay. When you add on soffits and fascia, if someone wants that as a line item, okay, you got to make sure if that gets removed, the price to do the walls, trim, and the doors is still at 50%.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So again, it comes down to identifying your pricing and becoming confident in the way that you do it, so you can present and you can handle these objections and you can handle the curveballs thrown at you when you're sitting in that estimate, given the pricing. There's a lot to think about there. What do you think about that?
I need to make sure that when if they say it's too much and they want to remove the ceiling, I need to make sure that whatever I'm removing is not too much, because then the thing that I'm charging
just
too much
preparing you for on the spot sales, because it's going to happen if you're doing it that way, right? So you've got to understand that. You got to be full circle. They're going to say, can you just take off the trim? And then you wind up taking off the trim, and then your job is at 25% margin because you only charged a small amount on the walls and the doors. And what are you going to say? Oh, wait, never mind. That's not correct.
Yeah.
You know? So let's talk about the production team. What's going on with the guy that's leaving?
He's not meant for the trade, man. He's learned well. He's picked it up well. I know he doesn't enjoy it, and we do a lot of all-home restorations. We do a lot of making the old look new, and I know he detests the prep work, like with an undying passion. You can see it in his face. He's very unhappy doing it.
Is he a good person? Like, you enjoy having him around?
He's a good person. He's not the best. He comes to work every day, puts in his 8 hours. I don't think he's a very happy person. I think he's got
that's more job related than it is.
No, it's personal. It's personal. Yeah. We've tried another guy in my career. So this guy, along with one of the other guys in my career, used to work for me in a separate business that I had before. And I brought him in last year. So the three of us have a good dynamic going as far as we know each other. I wouldn't say that we're close friends, but we're friends enough that we can talk. So we've tried to, talk to the guy and be like, hey man, you got anything going on personally? Is there anything we can help you with as friends or as coworkers? And he's very clamshelled about it. And
it's hard, man. That kind of puts a little bit of a hang in the, okay, good. So maybe it's a good thing, that,
it is. No, I think it is.
Moving on,
I think it is. He's not a very fast worker whatsoever. He's a fine worker. Don't get me wrong. Like, the guy will get down to the detail, but he can't keep a good pace. And most of the time,
you've got to be careful though, going on, and always learn from this in a sense of how you recruit people. Are all three of the people that work for you people that you've known before?
Only one of them. Only
one of them. How did you find the other two?
The other two, I found them. So I hired a guy last year that came from Idaho, from the Idaho Painter School. So he had a really good work ethic, but he moved down here, and shortly after, he had a business opportunity with a friend of his. But he's like, hey, I do have these other two guys that worked with me in Idaho, and they're moving right now. So I snatched them as soon as they moved into the area. Man, these two guys are machines. I mean, anything you throw at them, they have no fear. They go on the highest ladder. They work, if one day we have to work late, they have no issue with it. If anything, sometimes they work a little, I don't want to say too fast, but when they pick up too much speed, they get a little careless. But they are, I mean, these guys are workhorses. They're phenomenal. As a matter of fact, one of the two is my highest paid employee ever. He's the one that's at the $25 range because it's
Great. So hardworking guys. Great. Love it.
very hard
So,
working and very willing to take corrections.
and that's important.
Yeah.
You know, that's all good. Build off of that. You know, you have to
Yeah.
continue to hire.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to stay where you're at stagnant, where these two feel like they're running your company and you're making the profit, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's an important dynamic that you need
Oh, yeah.
to ensure. What's stopping them from starting their own business, right? And if it's, you know, and you might think like, well, they love working for me, but you got to remember everyone.
Yeah,
is,
that's never infallible.
Don't get complacent with that mindset, right?
Never.
I think you know that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I like the idea of 4 on a job. So have you already prepared to replace this, the guy that's leaving?
Yeah, I have paid ads out on Facebook now, and by the end of the week, I want to have one on either Indeed or ZipRecruiter. What
Perfect.
works
So
better for
you're-
you, Indeed or
so-
ZipRecruiter?
Indeed.
Indeed.
I just
Yeah.
stick with Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Juan, you're rounded, man. I mean, I think, you know, the only thing stopping you here is the confidence behind on the spot selling. And that comes down to your pricing, and it comes down to you doing it. And you're going to see an increase in sales. One thing that's a little concerning to me, just because that's just the way I do it,
Of course.
is when you take these curveball jobs, restoration, old look new, these jobs really string out production times.
They do.
And they push out future jobs, like people that are moving in and need it done quick. You can't get there because you guys are stuck.
Or I have to split the crew, and then neither
Or you got
job
to
is
split the
running
crew,
properly. Yeah.
and it also affects your ability to bring in fresh blood, right? People that don't know how to paint but want to learn, but then you throw them into a restoration job where they're sanding for 4 days, and
That's kind of what happened with the guy that's leaving. Yeah.
Well, aside from his personality issues, if it wasn't that, I'd probably tell you that maybe it's time to find what he's best at and put him there, because that's a leader's responsibility, is to facilitate, you know, in the best without compromising where people fit best.
Yeah.
And-
No one. And in the next year to 18 months, I want to have 2 interior exterior crews, and I want to have 1 cabinet painting crew, because I have done a lot of. So I have a process down, but I need to have 1 crew that dedicates only to that. And if this guy has stayed with me long enough, he would have been phenomenal for cabinet painting, because he is. If you give him a perfect plan from point A to point B, he works great with, there's no variations, and that's basically cabinet painting.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no variations. It's always the same thing, but fortunately he's not going to stay long enough to get to that point. So, but
yeah,
I
mean, there's a ton of opportunity for women painters in this industry right now. There's a ton of opportunity for people that want to get into the trade, want to learn, and you just got to make sure that your job types align and nurture that. Like for me, and we're in the same market mostly, you know, the retirees, the communities, the drywall, the stucco, the simple repaints, you know, you find a way to tap into there. It's just cookie cutter in a good way. It's not like new construction where it's literally cookie cutter, but you get new people every few days and different environment and, you know, that sort of thing, what you're doing now. But I would just try to just make that a focus more than anything. But you got to be careful, because these are things that you might have loved to do when you were working alone. You know,
But
and you got it, and by nature you go back to that, but now you're putting your guys there. Maybe they don't like to do that at all, but they're just working because they, you know. Do you genuinely think that your 2 guys that are like rock stars enjoy doing these restorations?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They do.
like it.
Yes, they like it. Yeah.
Okay.
They
Well,
enjoy they enjoy the you know, getting down to the details and making everything look mirrors.
So they're very detailed, which hurts when we have a $1,500 or 1,500 square foot house and it takes 7 days, because they're very meticulous, very, you know. Is that usually what it's coming down to?
So here's the thing with these 2 guys. That's really what threw me off when I first started working with them. When I saw the kind of workhorses that they were, I was like, all right, now we have this craftsman restoration coming up, and they're gonna work too fast. And they were able to switch back and forth between fast production to detail work really well. Unfortunately, I'm realistic. There's not a lot of people like that out there.
Who runs the job when they're, because it sounds like they just have their head down and they go.
As of right now, me, but I am training the other guy to become a team lead.
There you go. Yeah. So just have that in the works. That's all good, Juan. You know,
Yeah.
I think you're there. If you can just get your pricing to a point where you're confident in being able to just price it and go and deliver
Mhm.
that price on the spot. You know, with DripJobs, you can do it on your iPad.
Yep.
Um,
Just bought a cellular enabled one.
oh, there you go. You just
Yeah.
bought that.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just received it yesterday because
Do you love it?
I went to do one on the spot last Wednesday or Thursday, and I already had a number in mind. It was a very simple. They were moving in. It was only the walls. Like I knew exactly on the top of my head. I like, yeah, let me just type it up and show it to you. And was trying to use the what do
Mobile
you
app?
call it? The Wi-Fi
Oh, the
sharing,
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
the router feature on your phone.
No service.
I couldn't connect, and I was like, it just the appointment went from like yay to.
Wah, wah, wah.
So like that's it. I'm buying it. I'm pulling the plug. I'm just gonna buy a cellular
Oh, you're
enabled
gonna
one.
love it, man.
I
You're
don't
gonna
have to
love
worry
it. Just
about it
having
anymore.
that
Yeah.
there, having them sign with their finger, it's awesome.
Yeah. I have to
Bro.
work on my sales, and I have to work on
Your pricing.
no, I
way
mean
that-
the pricing and sales and getting my production process down. Get them I did just get the SOPs for Nick Slavic.
There you
Those
go.
are gonna be a huge help.
Yeah.
Again, another one that puts abstract thoughts
I
into
think you're gonna be a. I think you're gonna hit your goal of multiple crews. I don't think I mean, I really don't see any holes other than if you learn how to price on the spot, you're gonna be a hitter, man. I
Thanks.
mean, you learn how to and then the art of closing, which is like
That's my
really
issue.
cool, man. It really is because at that point you got to understand people want you to be their guy. There's
Yeah.
no way they wouldn't. Like you're very personable. You're very you're very business savvy. You come in freaking professional, man. So the only thing that's going to usually stop people from hiring you is either number one, the price, which we know, or number two, they still have questions, right? They're not, if people don't have questions, in other words, if they know exactly what they're getting in terms of the process, in terms of what it's going to look like, and that's your job to build value. If you can get that out of the way, and you do that by telling your story. Hey, I trained these guys from all the way up. They're my employees. One guy's name is Jose. One guy's name is Joe. They're great. They work so hard. They're so detailed. Like you want these guys in your house doing the work. I can't tell you how much you're going to love them.
Yeah.
Then all that's going to be left is price. And if you're dialed in to your margins to where hey, this is at 50%, but if you really need work, you'll go as low as 35, 40%. You have a lot of negotiation leverage there. It's all about how you frame it. And then you use value propositions if needed. Hey, you know what? Look, I saw you needed your roof pressure washed. I'll tell you what, if you allow me to earn your business today, I'll have the roof pressure washed free of charge. So you really learn how to find things that they know they need done that you may be able to subcontract or something to do to allow you to give you the boost to get the job. So much creativity there. I have a sales course. Have you ever seen it?
I got all your courses.
Did you take it?
And which
The
one
sales
of them?
course.
Hang on 1 second. Let me
It's
what's
the on the spot sales course.
On the spot sales core Tanner Moment. What would be the website? Do you have it?
It's that I'll send you the link after this.
Okay, I'm fairly sure I've gone through all your core. Oh, I've lost.
Yeah,
it now.
but this
are.
one specifically covers on the spot sales. So I'll send it to you once we get out of here.
Okay. Oh, yeah, send it to me. See
Awesome.
See if I haven't seen it.
All right, my friend. Was this helpful?
Yeah, very helpful. Very helpful.
All right, man. I appreciate
Sometimes you
your
just need someone to tell you. Like even if you know, you just need someone to tell you in the face.
Yeah, man.
Like, hey,
You're good. You're gonna hit it.
yeah, thank you, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Juan. See you,
All right,
buddy.
talk to you later, man.